again, shakes the ground beneath him. Made to conquer second, elusive silver third. Anton Marcus, do it again. And do it again has done it.
Well, it's quite a chilly morning here at Turffontein, and the shortest day of the year has come and gone with the winter solstice, as is the case throughout southern Africa. And it was a damn sight warmer at Greyville Racecourse on Thursday morning, the 27th of June, where the official gallops took place, where all the horses domiciled in KwaZulu-Natal were shown in all their splendour to the public, who came out for the sticky buns and coffee, etc., as is the tradition at Greyville Racecourse. But there are certain horses that, for good reason, have been kept on the high felt, whether it's a scientific reason to get a high blood count or whatever the reason is. They represent the power of the Sean Tarry stable, who is currently leading the South African trainers log. Michael de Kock has also got a runner who's been taken care of by his son Matthew, called Barrahin. And JOHAAN van VUUREN has got a very progressive son of Oratorio called Divine Odyssey, who has gone through his paces during the course of the week. So we're going to show you those gallops, and we're going to chat to Johan first of all, whose stables are just down the road here at Turffontein. And we're also going to have a chat to Matthew de Kock, who we're going to lasso down at the VAR later on today. And Johan van VUUREN, we're going right now to his yard to find out what he thought of the performance of Divine Odyssey galloping here at Turffontein. And a huge debt of gratitude go to Teletrack for availing us of the tracker vehicle, which gave us some outstanding footage of Divine Odyssey galloping with his stable companion. Johan, as always, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to get closer to this horse, because that's what it's about. It's a people's race. You were sadly left out of the race last year with a horse that is extremely effective at Greyville.
Homeward bound, Crowd Pleaser. He gives a beautiful kick. Look at Crowd Pleaser by 3 lengths at the 400.
But this is a completely different horse to the front-running style of Crowd Pleaser.
Yeah, Andrew, he's definitely a much different horse. He's got a much better turn of foot, this horse. He's also a strong bugger. He's a type of horse that can take a bump or two in a race. So I think that July is probably made for a horse like this, if that makes any sense. He'll definitely be more aggressive after a bump or two in a race. It is a rough run race. I'm not saying we want to get bumped, but if it does come his way, he's not a type of horse that's going to turn it up. He's definitely going to get into it more and give his best.
Obviously, he's got a very handy galloping weight. The draw is just that, the luck of the draw, and your jock's going to have to do the best he can in a tight circuit. But I was impressed with the way he worked. What were you thinking?
Yeah, he's not a horse that gives everything away at home. You know, he's the type of horse you got to judge him on his well-being. I took a blood of him Monday afternoon before we galloped him, just to make sure that everything's spot on. And he's an extremely fit horse at the moment. He's extremely well. His blood was spot on. You couldn't ask for a better blood if you have to write it on a piece of paper. So exceptionally happy with his prep. He's been doing really well for the last 2 or 3 months. He's just been on the up all the time. So yeah, I definitely think we got him very well for this race. I was very happy with his gallop. It obviously wasn't a long gallop because he's a fit horse. We just gave him a little 800 pipe open on the grass and let him enjoy himself. Like I said, he's not a horse that's got a lot of speed, so when he gets those mornings where he can bowl along, he really enjoys that. It just freshens him up a bit. So yeah, it looked like he enjoyed his work. I was extremely happy with the gallop. And like you said, 53 kilograms for a strong 4-year-old is a lovely way to come into the race. He comes in spot on. I think 111 is 53 this year for a 4-year-old, so he's not under sufferance at all. There's a couple of horses under sufferance in the race. July very competitive this year. The average ratings are definitely higher than it was last year. So yeah, nice to come in with the weight not being under sufferance. I think he's going to feel like he's loose with 53 kilos. This horse, like I said, he's a strong bugger. And then yeah, coming back to the draw, some people believe slightly higher draw better in July. I obviously don't have the experience a lot of other trainers do, but I'm definitely not one of those people who believe that. I believe a good draw is a good draw, and a bad draw is a bad draw. And from draw 16, we have to get luck in running. I'm going to leave it to Calvin. He's been working this horse every single day, probably for the last 3 months. Nobody knows him better than Calvin does. So I'm definitely not going to tell him what to do. He's going to have to see what the pace is like in a race and make up his own mind.
Yeah, that's fascinating, because he's shown incredible commitment to your stable, but you have given him many good opportunities, which he's taken with both hands.
Yeah, and I really like Calvin. Something people don't know about Calvin, when I was still at the VAR and he was still in school, he used to come ride work in the mornings before he used to go to school. He used to be the first string ride work. Obviously, his dad was a jockey, and they know what type of dedication was needed to become a jockey. So they were very happy to help him out. They dropped him off very early at the VAR in the mornings. And then already I saw the kid had a dedication. You know, that's 90% of this job one, because, not to be ugly, but half these youngsters nowadays don't they just don't have the dedication anymore to do this job properly. And that's one thing that Calvin did have. And then another thing that Calvin, I saw from him at a very young age, he was very relaxed on horse. And he got horses very relaxed. He's got great hands. So those are the type of things I look for in a rider. So I was always very keen to give Calvin a chance when he started riding. And he's just, then the bonus of it all, you're lucky with some guys and you're not lucky with some guys. So Calvin has ridden a couple of horses for us at massive odds, and he's won for us in races where it mattered, like the Princess Charlene Maiden Plate. You know, those won a 250 grand maiden with an average horse. So it's just that luck. Calvin's got that luck for us in, like I said, in the races where it matters. So yeah, he's done really well for us. He's exceptionally committed. He's got great manners. I get on with him very well. And I honestly think, not just because he's riding for me, that kid has got a great future.
And finally, it would be remiss of me not to mention Mr. LMF Vernus, a man that loves horse racing like he loves the air that he breathes. And just to have a runner in this race, like the Olympic credo, is so important for him and his partners.
Yeah, and listen, we had Brazuca 2 years ago. He had exactly the same prep as this horse, but unfortunately came into that year with 56 kilograms, and he just wasn't good enough, you know. And then also we never had a chance to draw. We were left over. We were the last draw in a day, and we got given draw 20. So we basically had no chance. So I wouldn't say this year we got a good chance, but I think we definitely got a more realistic chance of earning cash than we did with Brazuca 2 years ago. And then it's also very nice for Lawrence that he was part of breeding this horse, Lawrence and Harry. It was their own mare that they raced. And yeah, it's just nice for them to have a runner, a horse that they bred, and he's definitely going to win it at some stage.
Well, Barahin, I was very happy with. He's not the most visually impressive horse at home. He's a little laid back, but you know, I clocked him running a really quick time, which is hard to see, you know, when someone's being pushed like the way he was. But he clocked a really quick time, really low heart rates, came out of it well, seems to have improved. So I'm really happy with the place he's in. And just from sitting at home in Joburg watching the gallops in Durban, HEWITSON looks fit and well and happy, and my dad and Anton seem over the moon.
The key issue really is that the Johannesburg gallops, including Sean Tarry's gallops and Johan Janssen from VUUREN, were proper gallops. The horses were pushed along as a proper piece of work, whereas at Greyville there were only a few horses that really worked along, and some of them were just there for show, as is the condition of the race. What did you take of that?
Yeah, it's difficult. The gallops may not suit some people's programs for their horses. Traditionally, my dad has used the gallops as a bring-on type of workouts. So HEWITSON and Sukrat really stretched their legs this morning. They had a proper gallop. I mean, they would have been doing some speeds. And you know, we're comfortable at home in our environments and happy to let them go on a track we're familiar with and gallop hard, because we know exactly how they're going to come back and how it affects them. And it was in our routine to gallop that hard.
I was very happy with his gallop. He's always a horse that just does enough in his gallops, and his companion's a superb workhorse. So the work he put up for his final preparation was fantastic, and I couldn't be more pleased in the manner he's done things up to now. So we're going in with good hopes.
As far as the gallop was concerned, you obviously went to the head of affairs, which is the style of running that he was always used to. But since you've taken over with him, you've been trying to let him accelerate, and he would appear to be in the perfect place to run a big race in the Vodacom Durban July.
Yes, I agree with you. All three starts I've ridden him have been drawn pretty much widest of all, and we've given him a proper chance from the back of the field. And you know, his Met run was really commendable. To get beat at level weights by 2 lengths by the likes of Rainbow Bridge and do it again in those sort of horses, I think that's a fantastic run. And now with the swing in the weights, on paper it shows that he'll have a big chance. We gave him his prep run with a 14 his last start. The pace was really slow and in a very stretched out field. It might not have looked as eye-catching as we would have liked, but then you go look at his finishing times and we're pretty happy with the way things went. So yeah, he's coming into it in fine fettle, and maybe this can be a last swan song, a big one.